Welcome to the first episode of CARP-OOL. The idea being, I'm going to be driving all over the country, picking up familiar faces from the fishing world and going for a good drive around, talking all things fishing, but all things life as well. And obviously, I've got a few surprises along the way. My first guest is Mr. Tom Maker. Obviously, we go way back. We're good friends in fishing, but also in life as well, which I'm really looking forward to hopefully showcasing. I'm going to be picking lads up from their homes or their work and sort of taking them out of their fishing comfort zone, if you like. I'm really looking forward to hopefully showing you guys another side to who you already know from fishing, but also getting to know them myself. You know, I'm going to be hopefully picking up lads that I've not really known outside of fishing, and maybe I'll sort of learn a little bit about them as well. But yeah, without further ado, I've got a 3-hour drive down to Bristol to pick Mr. Maker up, go for a drive, and yeah, I have got some surprises for him as well, but I won't give anything away too much. But yeah, 3-hour drive, gonna grab myself a McDonald's and get myself down there. Let's go. Check your mirrors, Scott. Right, just spoken to him and he reckons I said, I don't know what number. He's obviously only given me the postcode, and he said, I don't know. I said, I don't know what number it is. And he said, you'll know my house when you see it. What does that mean? I've never been his house, so how am I gonna know? Nice round here though. Someone's doing alright. Right, this is it, somewhere here. Oh, I know it. Now I do know it. This is why. He's got a linear closed sign on it. That's how you're always getting them swims. Love it. Child lock. Sorry mate, I should have made some room for you, shouldn't I? Can you get your feet in there?
Oh, get my trainers dirty. It stinks in here.
Right, let's put it in park. Right, I just had to let a fly out. I've obviously had maggots in here, haven't I? Oh, there's a fly in here, the little bat. Get out. Can't have him in here.
This is quite a nice truck.
Yeah, ignore the cameras, mate. Pretend they're not there.
But safety first.
Yeah, you are in the. You are in
ever
trouble,
been in a car with him?
Have you not? We have. We must have drove around. But yeah, I was going to say. Apparently, a camera adds £10 to you, so you're screwed, mate.
I've lost about £20 since
yeah,
Christmas.
people are going to get some good chin views. But yeah, basically, you know the script, mate. Obviously, I haven't told you too much, but the idea is just me and you going for a drive, and eventually you're going to end up going for some food. But you aren't going to see that. You don't want to see that.
I'm in for food.
But I've got a few surprises along the way, which I did say. So the first one is, I've got you a little present.
Oh yeah.
This one.
Shall I open it now?
Yeah, open it now. Yeah, of course.
Who wrapped this? Not you.
No, I didn't wrap it. I was just going to scrunch it up in tin foil. Got you your own little thermometer for testing the water temperature.
I thought it was a rectal thermometer to start with.
Well, yeah, it's obviously one that a baby would have in the bath, because a bit of context to that is Tom doesn't like people that test the water temperature.
No, I don't. It's not that I don't mind. Let me just put my phone aside. It's not that I don't mind people testing the water.
Someone on your front, mate.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't like people testing the water as an excuse for not catching.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch.
It's for filling up content. Like if you're going to go fishing between December, January, February, and into March, there's a very good chance that the water's going to be cold enough. If you fall in, your balls are going to shrivel up. Yeah. And I don't need to be told that every week on social media. Yeah. And I know you like to do it, but you do it to annoy me. Yeah, I do it to annoy you. Right, I'm going to get on the road. You're going to guide me to where we're going. Well, where do we go? Starbucks or Costa?
Starbucks, I'm saying, drive-through. Is it a drive-through?
Yeah, it's back up the motorway.
You're going to guide me? I've turned my phone on airplane mode, so it won't work. Right. One more gift. You can open this one while we're driving.
Let's do this.
Out of here and left. Oh, wait, what? I've nearly killed us already. Thank you.
That's my neighbour. He's a nice old lad, him.
Yeah. Right.
Let me see what we got in here then.
You're loving all these presents. But yeah, thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for being my first guest of CARP-OOL. Obviously, I went for top of the shop, but Carl Smith, Tommy, Tommy, Dove, Spooner, all them weren't available.
Make it. No,
they weren't available, so I thought I'd better go for you. Went down there. Yeah, I've got you some toe socks.
It's not really sort of a what's it called, a true reference, though, is it?
It's not. No.
You couldn't get one with the second toe.
No,
longer.
Bigger. No,
I like that.
It's not a normal thing having a second toe is bigger than your first one.
Apparently, it's something to do with intelligence. If you've got that, it's intelligence.
Okay.
Which I'm probably lacking that.
Right, where am I going?
Left. Back on yourself. I'm trying to focus on the chat, but at the same time not crashing.
Oh god.
It's quite a spacious van, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And apologies if it's a bit echoey. I haven't got a bulkhead. I was going to call it a headboard then. That's something different.
Not a headboard.
I haven't got one of them either. I broke it.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, there's a surprise.
Starbucks. Let's go, Darwin.
It's a little bit up the motorway, but it's all right.
Up the motorway?
Yeah, we don't have any.
I haven't got much fuel.
This is like where you live. We don't really have a lot of we don't even have Uber Eats here.
To be fair, I do need the toilet really bad. I've just had a 3-hour drive, yeah, and I thought, can I pull up to his house, having never been there, and been like, can I use your toilet?
Of course you can.
No, I'll go with Starbucks.
Although Laura's on a course, so she probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
How are you getting on with the old wedding anyway? Talk to me.
I have minimal involvement with it. I try not to get involved in it. Well, everything I suggest, Laura says, like, what do you think of this? So I'm like, oh, I think this would be nice, this would be nice. She's like, yeah, but I like this. And I'm like, okay, so what are you saying? She's like, well, I just really think we should go with this. I say to her, why ask me?
Why ask me? Yeah, she's trying to involve you.
We're at a point now where if she tells me what she would like, as long as it's not ridiculous, then we can go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so other than that, it's good. We got the date booked.
Yeah.
We got the venue booked. Got a photographer booked.
Yeah.
We got a DJ booked.
And what?
Other bits booked. We got Archie. Bluebell Archie.
Oh, Archie Beats. Oh, fair play. Yeah. He's a nice
got
one.
Archie and his mate coming down. So yeah, so we got that, and then obviously we've got to try and book a honeymoon, which is more expense. I shouldn't moan. It's only a once. I never thought I'd ever get married anyway, so.
Neither did anyone else. To be fair, the slow helps because I'm not too sure. This is obviously my first time doing this. I've literally cowboying it. I'm hoping it looks and sounds okay. But yeah, by going slow, it's not too bumpy.
We've got 2 different shades of grey on.
Yeah. To be honest, I've got some new merch from YouTube. I've got a new logo. This isn't it, but it didn't turn up. I was supposed to get it yesterday. Typical. Delivery services. Amazon's killing everyone. Yeah, I've got a new logo and I wanted to wear it. But at the same time, I like the idea of just coming in our cashes because we're going for some food.
Normal stuff.
Why wear fishing gear?
We've got plenty of food places. Not really around here we haven't, but like more into Western we have.
I was sort of thinking, you know what? I bet there's not many people that have seen you in normal clothes because I remember.
I don't do any I don't ever put anything of my own personal life
on social media,
so people wouldn't. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's like even with the wedding, like the people that we've got down on the guest list that are coming, like I've probably never seen 80% of them without wearing fishing clothes or in a fishing environment.
Yeah.
You just don't, like a lot of people think that we're all close by and we see each other every day, but the reality is the only times we actually see each other is either when we're fishing, which again is rare because we don't all fish the same places.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know. You really don't know nothing about that person.
Can you remember Adam Smith? From Lynch Hill.
From Lynch, yeah.
Obviously, he was like a bit of a bank tramp or whatever you want. You know, he was there.
He done a bit of time.
Yeah, he was 8 nights a week, and you'd only ever see him wearing camo and that. And then I remember, I'm pretty sure it was like Nick's his sister's wedding or something.
Yeah.
And he's turned up in a suit. And I didn't even notice him. He's like, "You right, Scott?" I'm like, "You right, mate?" Like, just thought it was like one of the family that you don't know. You know what I mean? I was like, "Adam, is that you?" Like, because obviously he's like total, like, you know, rugged hair and all that.
I just don't see people outside of fishing. Like, I tried to switch off as soon as I come back from fishing. Like, I have a very small group of mates that I would say I would ring just to see how they're getting on.
Yeah.
But as soon as I come back from fishing, I just switch off.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I don't really want to look at fishing. I don't want to talk about fishing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I was, you know, there's a couple of lads that live by me, and they're good lads, you know, I've known them for a long time, but it's like, oh, should we go down to the pub for a beer? But I'd rather them say, should we go for a drive-through? Do you know what I mean? Like, and get a McDonald's. But I don't want to talk about fishing, like, because you can have too much of it. I love it. It's like, it's my hobby, it's my addiction, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But you can have too much of something, and it's nice to talk about other things with people, you know, like not just fishing.
Yeah, I suppose a good way of looking at it, I'm obviously the same. Fishing is my getaway from life. And then I think life is your getaway from fishing, you know what I mean? Obviously.
Right. Just quickly referencing the arm movements, when we went to Belgium last year, Scott was obviously in the van with me and Brad, and the sat nav was telling me exactly what way to go, but every sort of 30 seconds, depending on what way we was going, you'd just get an arm flung across in front of you with like, go this way, and then we had all different roundabouts and this way and straight over.
I'm a machine controller.
And, so that I've just done a little right there. We've got to go back on
I'm a bad passenger seat driver.
Well, I am. Normally, if I'm in the passenger seat, I fall asleep, but hopefully for this, I stay awake.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, mate.
I will do. But yeah, no, so we don't really see each other, do we? Like,
no.
Outside of fishing. I probably speak to you more than what I speak to Laura on the phone.
Yeah.
But
obviously.
You don't see each other.
Well,
you live so far apart, don't we?
I'm obviously more important than your wife to be, mate.
I like your setup anyway, it's very professional.
I know, yeah, I'm looking pretty cool, aren't I? I don't know about the angles, I don't know about the sound, you know, obviously I know a little bit about cameras, I've done a bit of vlogging in my time, but when it comes to this bloody professional setup,
well, I'm not.
We'll see what happens.
I'm the least professional person going when it comes to cameras.
I mean, the sound might not even be working, there's just subtitles on the bottom.
No, the green bars are going up, so we're all right.
Oh, is that what they mean?
I think that's the sound, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we've got right, stay in the right lane then.
Right, in the right lane, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on fishing-wise with you anyway? Talk to me.
Do you know what? I was chatting to...
Let me tell you what I think in a minute. I feel like you're not quite settled yet. It's that time of year, isn't it?
It's like...
Because you're bouncing around quite a bit.
Yeah, it's... For some reason, and I'm sure by the time this goes out, people will have... It would obviously be through the winter then. It's been hard. Like, I fish every week, like, without fail. You know, I went last week and I was really ill. Ended up coming home because I was ill, but I go every single week. And for all of the years I fished, I can honestly say that this is the first winter. I've gone back up onto the motorway, yeah, right. So this is like the first winter where I've been going, but just not getting anything going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so, I mean, you know, you've got, bearing in mind I'm going on places that are pretty well stocked, you know, not making any secrets. I'm going on lakes that are rock hard with no fish in there.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but like the places where I'm going, trying to find the fish and get on them has been really hard.
Yeah.
And then trying to catch them and in any sort of numbers, it's been even harder. Follow that ambulance. It's been even harder.
Yeah.
And you get something going, you catch one, you think, right, here we go, this is the one. And then they just go. Yeah. And we've had so much inconsistent weather, you know, like the other day we had like a couple of days down here, it was like 18, 20 degrees.
Yeah.
I was ill obviously over that weekend, but then Monday I thought, right, back of that, bound to be a bit of consistency. Wasn't really feeling it, but I thought, you know, I'm going to go anyway. Turned up to the lake, frost in the morning. And it's just like, it is only March, like this is a left there. It is only March. Like, I think a lot of people seem to think we're later on in the year. And it seemed to me like January dragged beyond drag.
Yeah.
Like it just went on and on and on.
It's worth saying it is mid-March now. So I don't know when this is going out, whenever my YouTube goes live, so probably next year. It's 2025, by the way, just in case. I've been dragging this YouTube out for a while. But yeah, I totally agree, mate. My fishing's been the same. And yeah, it's a classic sort of full spring, isn't it? I mean, obviously, you're in a privileged position where you can get out every week, whereas I'm not. Oh. No, it is worth mentioning that we are in a privileged position, but at the same time, I don't think people ever, I mean, I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I don't think people ever, you know, because you would have seen comments online as well as I have, you know, about us, and it's like, oh, it's all right for him, he gets this much time, blah, blah, blah. And I think, yeah, definitely, we have got the time, but we're still giving stuff up to give that time, you know, that overtime at work, or them holidays, or time with kids, or whatever it might be, that, you know, time with your mates down the pub and that. We give all that up as well, don't we? I'm not trying to play some sort of little violin here, but I think it's quite easy for some people to judge, but it is worth saying that time is one of the biggest tools in your armory.
There's no substitute for time, you know, and I try to say this to everybody, like, a professional footballer doesn't just become a professional footballer because they're born with that skill. You know, if you was to speak to them, it's like the thing is when it comes to like fishing, like, because if you're, say, a Premier League footballer or whatever you are, you don't really meet the public, so to speak, so people can't give you their opinion and say this and that. They just instantly think, oh, you must be great, blah blah blah, whatever. But when you're fishing, you've had to sacrifice a lot to get to that, and you can speak to people and they're very open to say, oh yeah, but you only catch because you've got all this time, you only catch because you've got that. And like, partially I'll probably agree with a little bit of it, because when you are in a privileged position, which I know we both are, and I wake up every morning grateful, but I didn't just roll over out of bed one day and just pick that job title out of a book. You know, I went to college, trained as an electrician, was sparking, and things in life need to fall into place for certain things to happen. You know, I know people say if you work hard, eventually it will happen, and I do believe that, but you need elements of stuff to fall into place. You know, like, I was living down in Kent, working in London. My old boss, who I still keep in contact with, was very, very good at
doing what, by the way?
Sparking, electrician. He was very good at letting me have a Friday off here and there, which meant I could get to the lake quicker, which therefore meant that I was in a better swim for the weekend when I was a weekend angler, and therefore I was catching. So that was the first initial start that I had. And then when I met Zoe, who's now my ex, I was very fortunate in a way that the living situation meant that I could not work a full 5-day-a-week job, but dedicate maybe a Monday to going fishing from Friday to Monday. So you're off my 3 or 4 nights. So you then have that bit of extra time, and you know, things just escalate. And I appreciate that it's not going to be like that for everybody, but I've sacrificed a lot now to do what I do.
And even back then, you've got to think, you know, what stood out to me straight away is being able to get that Friday off with your old boss. This is before you were, you know, really involved in the industry. Me, for instance, could have used that Friday a lot differently, or anyone watching could have used a Friday free a lot differently. Whether that be going on holidays, going down the pub. So you give up a lot. Like I say, this isn't me trying to sort of preach, and you know, I'm just saying it as it is, based on a negative, and sort of maybe looking at it from our point of view as well. Which did sort of lead me. I've got a few sort of questions that I obviously want to put by you throughout this. I did write them down, but I think I can remember them off by heart. And it led me on to one, like, to sort of say, if you weren't an angler, what do you think you would be? Now, you've obviously already said you're sparking, but how do you think life would look for you if you weren't full-time fishing?
It's hard to know, isn't it?
It is an hard one to know, but what do you think you see yourself doing? Would it be another... Is there anything else that you're interested in other than fishing?
No, because obviously fishing was my hobby, which then turned into a job. But I've worked hard with the fishing to basically work for myself, and obviously you can't employ people when you work for yourself in fishing, because you're not employing anybody for anything, really, are you? But I think if I was still sparking, like, I would have probably had lads working for me. Like, I've always been driven. Like, a lot of people, again, because people don't see me outside of fishing, they would just instantly think you've never done nothing, you've got no life experience. You know? But that's how I choose to live my life. Like, I don't want people to know certain things in my life, about family, about where I live, about, you know, I don't want to be showing things that I've bought, because I don't like that, because people are following us and watching, and they might not be able to afford the stuff that maybe I could afford, and I wouldn't want to rub their face in it. And, you know, I think if I wasn't fishing and I didn't dedicate my life to fishing, I would have dedicated it to something else, which would have been my work. And, you know, from, I'll say a young age, not really a young age really, but like probably since I've had my little one, since she was about 4 or 5, I've just gone by it. I do enough to earn a living, have a nice living, but don't wake up in the morning stressed. And I think I would have had the same attitude if I was working and doing something else. Like you can work so much and stress yourself so much, and in reality, when you die, you're not coming back. And I know it sounds obvious, but
services.
Becoming a fee,
yeah. Be on the bloody services.
Yeah.
I get you.
I would have. I don't know. Maybe would I got? I can't say I would have got into any form of like physical, active sport, because even when I was at school, I was like the fat kid that used to wear his PE t-shirt underneath his shirt, so I didn't have to get my belly out in front of the people in the changing rooms. But I would never I was never into the sports side of things, like all this athletics and stuff. So I can't ever say I would have done any of that.
Yeah.
Other hobbies, I mean, to be fair, where I used to grow up, there wasn't really a great deal there to do. Probably if I was down this way of the world, where there's a bit more shooting, a bit more outdoorsy stuff,
I was going to say, I definitely reckon it'd be some outdoors, because I think as an angler, we've got that addictive personality, haven't we? That's the one thing that links us all. If we weren't doing fishing, I think we'd be doing shooting or snowboarding or what have you. And you're an outdoorsy type person. And say the sparking thing, I know it's not outdoors work, but it technically is, isn't it? You're on the road a lot, you're in different houses. I could never see you being an office space.
No, I couldn't do it. I used to really enjoy the site work, and then when I moved down here for a bit just to tie me over, I was doing some like block and beam flooring, which that's hard graft. Anyone that's watching this that does block and beam, that I take me out to them. I used to do the poly floor stuff, like the jet floor systems, and that was all right because you're just cutting polystyrene, so it's not too bad. Yeah. But like, I couldn't work in an office. I go down to offices now, and I just couldn't do it. My biggest problem, and I know what it would be, is I'd constantly be eating, because I would just be sat there and there's always stuff available there. Whereas if I'm out doing something, like, I would be a damn sight lot bigger than what I am if I didn't do what I do. And I know I don't do the most active fishing, but you're out and you're moving around like a lot more than what you think you would be. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's hard, isn't it? You don't know, but it'd definitely be some outdoors, and I feel like you'd definitely be your own boss, because I know you from an outside looking in, mate, and you know what I mean. You do you
stay in the left
like you say you're driven. Bit more fishing related, because I don't actually know this genuinely. Two-part question: what is actually your PB UK, and do you even know how many UK 40s you've had?
I know my biggest is 54,
but you don't know how many 40s you've had, do you?
I would hazard a guess at between 75 and 90. I would say. You can go right here where the drive-through sign is. I know I've had over like 1,030s, but again, like a lot of the places I fish have a high
it was only out of curiosity.
I mean, a lot of it is like, there's obviously the big carp scene and this and that. Look at that, look, those are pulling the lorry drivers in as if they've not got a hard enough job to do.
What, cherry?
No, they pull them in here and then they just do them for overweight loads and stuff. Hopefully they don't pull us in.
He's leaning your way.
Follow Leon over there. I've had a fair few, but I mean, I'm fishing places where there's a lot of, especially now, like one of the things in modern fishing now, which probably infuriates me the most out of anything, is you'll speak to someone around the lake and you say, "Any good, mate?" "I had 3 last night." "Anything of any size?" "Nah, nothing of any size." I'm like, "All right, what was the biggest?" 31. And you think, bloody hell, like 31 pounds is a massive fish. For me, a 20-pound fish is a big fish. And like, it wasn't that many years ago that I remember like going to the post office with my mum to pick up CARP-OOL that used to get delivered on every Wednesday, to flick through the pages and you would see like 37-pounder on the front cover. Whereas now you've got people catching 37-pounders and it's like, our biggest is mid-30. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me that's changed in fishing, is people's perception of big carp. Like, people are not seeing carp how they should be seen, which
100%.
Each fish is a challenge, and if you're on a lake and say Brazenose or whatever, and you've got 400 plus 30s and then someone catches a double, it's only a double, and you think, well, you've had to put the same amount of effort in to catch that as what you would do a big one.
Right, mate. It's going to make you laugh. Look at this, the camera's on there, so that view goes down.
Oh, never.
Do you know what you want?
What do I have? I have one of those cold ones. What are they?
Let's have a look at the menu. I'm going to have a
lavender latte.
I reckon I'm going to have a latte.
Is it a frappuccino?
Do they do cakes and that or what? Pistachio and white chocolate loaf cake?
I don't think they're going to speak to you because your window's down.
What do you mean? You better have to speak to me.
What do I?
We're now wigging them. Hello?
Can I just have an iced coffee, please?
Maybe because I've got 17,000 cameras in.
I'll have an iced coffee.
Iced coffee? Yeah, can I get a latte, please? Yeah. And then can I get an iced coffee? Yeah. And then do you want some of this pistachio white cake? We'll get some of that.
Yeah, I'll have some of that.
Can I get 2 pieces of the pistachio and white chocolate loaf cake? You got any cakes?
Okay, shouting that loud, you don't even need the tannoy.
I'll
banana
get
loaf cake.
Banana loaf cake and lemon. Yeah. And then can I get some of them cake pops as well? They look nice. Yeah, we've got birthday cake or cookies for free. I'll have one of each. Yeah, no worries. Alright, legend. Right, cheers, mate. You've got to get this, by the way, because you're the guest. I'm only joking. Oh, a bit of context on the old toe socks as well. Basically, Tom's got an abnormally long second toe. He reckons it's something to do with Greek goddesses.
Well, actually, it is long, but when the pictures start going around on socials and that, I get a lot of people sending me toe pictures.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And I've actually looked into it, and like there is like a bit of a fetishy type thing, and people do pay for pictures of toes.
Should we do it?
I mean,
toe finder.
I'm always looking for a sideline.
So I do call him toe maker now. That's his new nickname.
It's got an armrest.
Oh yeah. It's pounds to use that.
Oh, this is quite an executive vehicle, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's banging.
The old Uber. What else is
there? Right, let's have a look.
Anyway, since we're on the subject of PBs, I'm sure you want to get your one in.
No. This isn't about me, Thomas. This is about you. But yeah, I did catch the. No, this is about you. But I have got some stuff that we can look at because I'm in park. We're not moving, not doing any illegal manoeuvres before anyone starts sprouting all that. Oh, this one's got your name on. This one's got my name on. Leave them ones with your name on.
And it's underlined.
Yeah, I writ mine, but I've actually done yours. Mine's written. Yours is typed, nice and professionally. Oh, yeah. So I just thought I'd have a look through them. Flies everywhere. Yeah, so all these cameras have checked online that you're allowed cameras in these 3 places. So, and they're not classed as a distraction. Okay. So I thought we'd get the legals. Yeah, that's why this one's in this blind spot here. So it's not affecting my mirror and it's not affecting zone A. That one is central and that one is not in a view of mine at all. Anyway,
be a comment.
There'll be a comment. Yeah. So oldest and also fondest, they could be the same memories in carp fishing. Talk to me, brother.
I would say probably the best memory was catching my first 30.
Yeah. So that's the fondest. What's your oldest memory? What's the first vivid?
Remember catching my very first carp.
Yeah.
10th of April 2000 it was.
All right.
I'll write it all down.
Very specific.
Yeah, I used to do, it's where we used to live, in, just outside of Gravesend it was.
Yeah.
There was a lake that was on the side of a railway track. We used to call it the British Eurolight factory, but apparently it had like an old Spitfire from the World War like in the back of it, and it's proper historic lake it was.
That's very good.
And yeah, it only had like a handful. I mean, back then it was like I think about 2 acre lake. It had like 520s in.
Oh, missed him.
It's like fighting in there. I think it had like 520s in.
Yeah.
And I used to go down there with Dad, like catching like bit bashing and stuff. And back then, going back years, Dad used to use like Richworth bait. And he used to use like the low fat mix, which is like 18 mil. I mean, when you think back now, like if we was to fish like that now, like I wonder if it would still work, because you would basically be reverting back to what used to work.
Yeah.
And we used to use, it was mantis hook link or snake bite, and it used to have like, if you had like a tiny bit, I mean, it didn't affect me because I had young hands, but like my old man was a roofer and he had like rough hands, but when you tried to like pull the coating off, you just pull strands of this braid out. And, I remember like all of them things I can remember. And I remember catching my first carp, and it was £7.10 it weighed, and I was catching like bit bashing and stuff, and then it was my boat. Then it was Christmas in obviously December. Yeah. And then I got my Enticer carp rods with the blue writing on them, with the big thick eyes on them. And I've still got them at home, my original Shimano 6010 double handle bait runners. Oh yeah, with a bit of purple. Yeah. I remember. I had a solar pod, because like they just last for years. Pod. Didn't they? The ones that you come in like a little black tube. Yeah, tube with red ends. I remember chucking them out, and I caught my first carp, and then one of the bailiffs came in and said, there's a couple of 20s in here, and you know, this is like thinking like loosely of what he was saying. Oh yeah, there was a few 20s in it, and I remember catching one called Veins, which I can get a picture of.
Yeah.
And it was like £21. I wouldn't expect to catch another one, and I caught a common at £20. And then yeah, from that, that's probably that was my earliest memories when I started fishing. I can still remember it, and I can still remember that day. I remember playing the carp in, and Dad going to lift the landing net up, and it being like teeming with like rudd and roach that I'd been catching on the whip.
Right.
But again, you don't see that nowadays. You don't see kids that are carp fishing with their rods out, say linear, but they're sat at the front of their peg with a little whip catching small fish.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, it was like the norm to have your blue Zebco seat box with your padded cushion. And I remember used to going through the Argos catalogue and circling everything I wanted.
100%.
And then, you're going through it. And I always remember, for me, it was revolutionary. Like
I'd Kennett,
I'd got key
guess.
nets. I'd gone on and on about. Remember, like the brollies that used to put the 45-inch ones, and then it had the sides around it.
Yeah.
And I just remember putting it up in my garden and just sitting there. And I used to like sleep outside in the garden with my fishing gear. But I still get as excited now to go as what I did all them years ago. Like I've never lost that excitement. And
me and my brother used to be the same, mate. We'd tie like toy cars, like smash the windows on little toy cars so you could tie your line through them and like just be casting them in the yard and casting them through neighbours' windows.
Yeah.
Not advocating that.
I remember doing similar stuff. We used to have like little
memories. It always seems that people, when reverting back to their favourite moments of fishing, it's always like aimed backwards, which it always is obviously going to be, but right back. You know what I mean? Their magical period was then.
It's different now, isn't it? With modern technology now, you're very much instantly.
Oh, camera's too hot. What's that mean?
Yeah.
Don't know what that means.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
It's. Oh, here we go.
I'll go past like this.
Right.
I'll go. Because we can get it through the door then.
What a turnout this is turning out to be.
Don't know why that camera's gone dead hot.
He's had a hot camera.
Hot camera.
Too
I
far
hope the oil don't go too hot. Bloody hell.
We should we put aircon on in this or what?
You're right. How much do I owe you? How much? £20, £25. We sell them down the other end of the country. £5 up north, that. £20, £25. There you go. You can keep the change. Thank you very much.
Don't think she knows what to make of Scott.
What's me? Turning that off. Don't know why it's gone dead hot. It is hot as well.
Yeah, but because they work, these GoPros, we had them before, when we're out filming and stuff. And we've had to make like little sun hats for them because they just get hot so quick.
Sun hats?
Yeah. Little bucket, cut down buckets, putting over the top of them.
Yeah.
Some might change.
Iced Americano, is that what
Yeah, that's nice.
Sorry, you can't use your drinks holder because camera's in the way. Oh, sorry. Miles away then.
Oh, she's strong, that.
It will be, won't it? Americano with no milk in it. There's bear cakes.
Well, I'll be honest.
Is that it? Yeah, lovely.
I'm trying to lay off the dairy because, this is a bit personal. We can choose to leave this in there or not. It doesn't really matter to me, but I think over the years of eating crap food at fishing, it's not done my gut any good at all.
Yeah.
And
is you parking?
well, you can either park. Do we need to park or just drive?
Yeah, I'm going to park, mate. Let me just go in there.
Can do, yeah. Well, the wrong side of the road, we're going to die.
Yeah, it's fine.
One
way.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this that go fishing and probably can relate. But over the years, I've had so much crap food. You park over there, can't you?
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I've had so much bad food over my years of fishing. A couple of years ago, I started having like I don't know, just like mad stomach cramps, like laying in bed at night, and it just felt like there was people just inside my stomach, just like on a night shift. Do you know what I mean? Like the noises, and my gut was felt like it was all tight and stuff. And
sorry, mate.
I've just had loads of like experiments with food, and one of the biggest things that's come back is milk.
Right. Okay.
Like I'm a sucker for a bowl of cereal, so even though I know it hurts me and it's painful, like when I have like play my Call of Duty at night, which is what I like to do. If I sit and have a bowl of cereal, I know that night I'm going to be in pain.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I wonder if that's partially the reason. It's going to sound mad that I don't put a lot of weight on, because it's almost like I have milk and it's a complete reset.
Yeah.
And it just shreds me. So that's why I've been like eating a bit healthy. I've lost I don't know how much I lost. I weighed myself the other day and I'd lost 9 kilos, I think, this year. Yeah, so I'd lost like 9 kilos this year, which is quite good. But definitely like not having the milk is making me feel better. But I mean, having that's quite bitter, but it's all right. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like it's bad, but I know like now I'm what 33 now.
You've been to the doctors and that then, yeah?
No.
Yeah, get yourself to the doctors, mate. Get yourself checked out.
I never bother. When what did I go to the doctors for last?
I know we don't. We're an hard bunch, aren't we? Or we think we're invincible. I think as anglers, and it's easy to, you know, not go to the doctors. But
no, like, I'm only self-diagnosing myself the fact that I'm like I can't drink milk. Like it could be something else that's underlying.
Yeah, well, you've been swerving it.
But I am the world's worst. Like even, I mean, this is going to sound really bad, but even the dentist. Like I've just registered to the dentist because I chipped my tooth at the back. And again, it's a bit of pain. It's not that bad. And then I got an abscess that was like out here. I popped the abscess back through the hole in the tooth that I had. And I went to the dentist, and I couldn't get on the NHS or that, and so I've had to go private. What's that? So I've had to go private, and that's like ended up obviously costing me a fortune. And I had to have like a deep clean, and they actually put 9 injections in. And I was trying to work out, and I spoke to my mum. The last time I went to the dentist, I didn't have to pay because I was under 18.
Awesome.
And I got a lolly and a sticker, so I must have been about 12.
Lolly? Yeah.
So like a long
Probably
time.
25.
Yeah.
Can I have a sticker, please? Oh.
But it just shows, didn't it? Like, and I know it sounds really bad, and I said it to Laura. The time just goes so quick, and it does. And I know it's probably been like 16, 18 years since then, and you think, bloody hell, you could do loads in 16, 18 years. But mate, my little one's going to be 11 this year, and I think I can still remember the day she was born like it was yesterday. Like time flies, doesn't it? Let's have a little look at this cake situation. Got a mouthful. Go on. Yeah, time just flies, doesn't it?
Want your cake?
Yeah, and I think that obviously I'm not saying there's not going to be any women watching this, but as blokes, you do sort of just think to yourself, sod it, I'll be all right.
100%.
Oh, this looks nice. What's this?
That is a banana, something or other. I don't like the sound of that. I got lemon.
I like banana.
I'll tell you what we'll do now. While you're eating, said I have some surprises for you. So, I'm going to play you a little video.
Oh my God, what have we got? Not too loud, because everybody will hear it.
No, 20. No, everyone's going to see this video, mate. Don't you worry.
Is it me?
Well, it might be. You never know. 1 second. Let's find it. Right, here we go.
I'm all ready.
Morning, gents. Hope you're both well. Scott, you have given me a sleepless night worrying about how the hell I'm going to start this. Coupled with the worry of how I'm going to catch a carp out of this lake. I haven't slept a wink. Anyway, I could sit here, I could tell you about the time, Chillum days, I think. I tied Tom a stringer. He chucks it out.
Coming in the morning.
24 hours later, he winds it in. Still intact.
Like a load of anal beads.
Stitch me up there. No, mate, I didn't, honestly. Genuine mistake. I tied my own stringer. All right, mate, you tie your own stringer. Chucks it out. Following morning, snow on the ground. He catches a
30-pound common. I remember all of it.
I could tell you about the time he catches his first big one. Incredible carp. He catches it out, the number 2. I'm sure what swim. South End.
Long a solid bug up.
35 pound. Absolutely a carp to die for. I say to him afterwards, mate, what a carp. I said, people will give their eye teeth to catch a carp like that. You might have to wait a long time before you ever beat anything like that.
November.
Brilliant. What happens? I don't know how many weeks later. 4, 5, I don't know. We're sitting there, rattles off again. He's caught a 36 pounder. Again, what do I know? I could sit here and tell you about the time we're sitting there chewing the fat, drinking a tea. I drink lots of tea for anyone that knows me. Probably far too much. And I'm sure we've all done it. You sit there, you take the tea bag out, you squeeze it on the spoon, and you give it a good flick.
Thought he knocked me out.
I give it a good flick.
Thought I said something to him.
Sticks in his eye socket.
I thought your dad was about to get nicked at this bit.
Moment of silence. No one says anything.
I said, what have I done wrong?
Eye socket.
Yeah.
There's a dear little bit of tea just trickling down his cheek. What have I done wrong, Dad? Oh, nothing, mate. Sorry, apologise. Oh, I thought I'd done something wrong. No, mate. No. Yeah, there's many of them, mate. There's many of them. And the other thing that's kept me awake all night is how to catch a carp out of here, which leads me on to something else. Over the years, I've been told many times, "Oh, you must be so proud of Tom." Proud? It doesn't even begin to explain how I feel. But I go quite. Oh, he had a good teacher. He had a good teacher.
You were right-handed though.
Everything he knows. Let me tell you, he is 10 times the angler I'll ever be. And all I've ever done is give that natural talent the chance to flourish. And flourish it as. Every time he just gets better and better. Every time I think, how can any one person catch as many carp as he does? And he beats it. He catches more carp. So like I say...
Good old boy.
The teacher, nah. More like the student. Because last night, as well as worrying about this, I'm also worried about how to catch a carp out of it. And all I can hear in the back of my head is, all your odds on the bottom, Dad. Yes, mate. Yeah, they're all on the bottom. Right, spring. I know it is, mate. Yeah. You should put a zig on, Dad. I know I should put a zig on, Dad. You really should put a zig on, Dad. Yeah, I know. Not just one. You should. Yeah, I know, mate. I know I should put a zig on. So, I sat here this morning, and I thought, you know what? I'm sick of hearing that voice in the back of my head. So, I put a zig on. In fact, I put 3 on. And, just the proof is in the pudding here. This is when the alleged teacher becomes the student.
Got £30, I think.
This is where we couldn't fit the camera, so we had to send it into.
So,
that's my type of peg. Look at that.
proof is in the pudding.
Bit of turf in there.
Yeah.
It's a big carp.
There you go,
It's
Tom.
a 30 plus.
Let's see if I can just pull this up.
Easy 30 plus, I think he
Wrap
said.
around 15 foot of
The
nylon.
size of it.
Big carp.
Yeah, he catches them.
Oh, he does.
In there.
On the
look.
ground though, isn't he?
Doesn't like to upload his pictures.
Look at that. Black and yellow as well.
Big carp angler.
Yeah.
Black and yellow zig. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, good one that was.
How'd you like that for a little surprise?
Surprised he'd done something in front of the camera. He doesn't normally like the camera.
Yeah,
When we went away to France before Christmas, I filmed it, and every time we get that bloody camera away from me, get that camera away from me. But yeah, obviously, like that's one of the things. Like obviously, he did. See if it wants to work.
Is he cooled down?
Yeah, he's working.
Hello, back again on 3 angles. Go on, mate.
Yeah, like I know he says that he's the student, but he's not. Like, obviously I was in a privileged position back then because I went fishing with him every weekend. His job was roofing, which he still does, which he should have retired years ago, which I keep telling him to retire. Obviously there'd be more left for me there at the end, so
happy days.
But no, I said like he used to take me every weekend, so he would get back from work on a Friday, or again he would have a Friday off or whatever, and I'd be there waiting in the garage, all the gear would be ready and I'll get it in, and like I remember going to his tackle box and can I borrow this, can I borrow that, and then you start building up your own kit and you have all your own bits and pieces, and then just like once I got my driving license, that's when it sort of took off. But the thing is, I was very fortunate the places that I could fish, back then, and I mean, I talk like back then, like old school, it's like, in effect, it was really like 25, was it 20 odd years ago, whenever it was.
Yeah.
Places like Chilham Mill, Walthamstow, the Mid-Kent waters, like you only got to look at Oz, he's like around that area, Paul Ford, bless him, like they were all people that were fishing those waters and we was there. So straight away, you're like, Dad's in with the people that are effectively in the industry early, if you know what I mean. And then he fished the British Championships, and at the time, like Kev Knight still supplies Dad his bait. He was supplying me my bait, and then we had a bit of a spell where we got our bait from. It was when Ian Russell was doing bait, Heathrow Baits, got a bit of bait there. Then Dad fished in the BCAC matches. Back then, you had a lot of people from within the industry fishing in the matches, completely different to what it is now. Like, you're not seeing the people in the matches now that you used to see, like the influential people.
Yeah.
Back then, you had like Danny Fairbrass and Damien Clark. They was a pairing. Rob Marsh and Lee Merritt. These are all people back then that were when obviously Dan and Damien, you know, Dan owns Corda, Rob and Lee were very highly sponsored. You had a lot of known people, Simeon Bond from Free Spirit, a lot of them people fished in the matches. So
yeah,
it was very, not easy to get recognised, but it was easier. And then Dad won the British, and he come second one year to Dan and Damien. And I used to remember riding round to see Dan and Damien. Ian Russell always used to take the mick out of me that I couldn't ride a push bike. And then went to Dan and Damien, and at the end, obviously, they said, like, Andy, you know, well done on your second, blah, 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 this and that. Dad then went on to win it. He then got a deal with Corda, or a sponsorship deal, and it was like, Andy's got a son, we'll give him a big, you know, so everything's just fell into place.
But it still took you and someone like, took someone like you to do, you know what I mean? That wouldn't have just been anyone that could have done that, you know what I mean?
No,
you were just the right person at the right time in the right place.
Yeah, you've got to want to carry on doing it, you know?
I'm sure there were a lot of young lads in the same position, you know what I mean? But you...
Yeah, but having, I think if your parent or parents are invested in what you're doing, it can make it a lot easier, you know. Like, obviously, my daughter now, she's into her horses, which is...
Wins, big shout out to Wins.
Yeah, big shout out to Wins, which is into her horses. Like, people might be thinking that I'm breeding them. I'm not breeding them, but we'll get onto that subject in a little bit.
Oh, we're coming to that.
Stephen! I thought you were dead!
My daughter's into horses, so even though I'm not with her mum anymore, if she goes to a show, I'll still go there, and I'm showing an invested interest, you know. I can't say I can go and way out and buy her a flipping 20 grand horse every week, because that's not the case. But if she wants to go and do that, and I think it's so easy nowadays for, you know, this isn't me talking about other people's parenting, it's none of my business what other people do, but it's very easy for parents who are leading busy lives to chuck their kid onto a tablet or an Xbox or an iPad and basically just say to them, carry on, me and your mum are busy, you know, and these kids end up turning out with nothing to do. And I was very fortunate that my dad invested that time in me. And and I think probably one of the biggest things was obviously going from working, and my man always said to me, and I think this is probably the best advice I ever had, is I don't care what you do in the future, get a trade. Like, if you're that way inclined and you like working outside and you like you like being on a building site, you like working with like-minded people,
100%.
if you get a trade, someone always needs a light changing, someone always needs a tap changing if you're a plumber, someone always needs an extension building if you're a brickie, plastering. You know, you've always got something. Like, I could go from doing what I'm doing now, I could give up this now fishing, and I could go back to sparking, and I could be straight into an employment and income, you know. And I think that's one of the biggest things Dad said to me. He went, I don't care what you do with the fishing, you know, if it takes off, it takes off. And I think back then as well, if I'd have said to my dad all them years ago, oh, Dad, I'll make a living out of fishing one day, it'd have been like, never, mate, it's not going to happen. You know, and I think one of the biggest things for me, like, obviously everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? And when I eventually moved in on my own, I had to sort of pay for my own place, renting, and then to buy a house. Don't get me wrong, obviously Laura was me and Laura bought the house together, but to buy a house with my books, my self-employment books, and it basically says all of your income has come through fishing, and I bought a house through that. Like, to me, that's a massive achievement. You know, I don't want for a lot of things in life, but I always set myself like little challenges. Like, goals. I wanted to buy a new van. When I moved in on my own, I went and bought a new van. Like, then we wanted to buy a house. Within a year and a half of saving, we had money. And it's hard now to buy a house, you know. And we went around. You see all this, affordable living. Mate, if someone can find me somewhere that's an affordable living, mate, I'd snap their hand off for it, because these houses start at homes for £300,000. It's like, bloody hell.
Oh, it's a joke.
You know,
especially down your way. You can buy them 2 a penny up my way, but
that's by a whole street. But I always set little challenges, because then when eventually, like, you've achieved those, then all the small things make up the big thing. Definitely. You know, and like now, like, I've got my little one that I left, that's obviously happy and healthy. Laura, who I'm getting married to, have a great relationship with my daughter's mum and her partner, which is more than I could have ever asked for. And mate, I don't have any stresses. But if someone had ever said to me, you're going to get all that through fishing, I'd have never ever believed them.
100%. And you're right about the trade thing as well. You know, my dad did the same, but Unfortunately, mine was
Stay
drug
left
dealing and not electricity. I'm only joking.
Where are we going
Obviously,
now?
I went into the railway, didn't I? Because Crew's like a bit of a railway town. We're going to head back towards yours, mate. You know, we're not. Oh no, let's go and get some food.
Yeah, what's
Obviously,
the time?
where's Miller and Carter from here? Where's do I get Miller and Carter?
Yeah, go back on the motorway then.
What is that left?
Mm.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah. I think it's always like.
I tell you what, this leads me on to a nice question as well, actually, that I had. If you could give one piece of advice to like a newcomer or young, and don't have to be young, just any newcomer, but young, and with regards to fishing and how to treat their fishing or whatever, one piece of advice to a newcomer to the sport, what would it be?
I get asked that a lot by a lot of people on messengers. The biggest thing is just, and I know it sounds obvious.
That way, yeah.
Yeah, just stand the same there.
Yeah.
Just go fishing and enjoy yourself, and don't listen to what other people have got to say. This world, unfortunately, thrives on negativity.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's the whole world, but certainly this country. The level of support from the wider community is minimal, and if you start to do well at something, people will knock you. The two words that are probably used the least now is well and done.
Yes.
Because if you do something in life, take fishing out of it. If you do something in life, say if, I don't know, like I've got a couple of friends that have got a lot of money. Money isn't everything. Money doesn't make the world, money doesn't make you happy, but money is what makes the world go round.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. They're very successful.
Yeah.
But there's always, oh yeah, but he's got that because his dad gave it to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but he's got that because of this and that. It's like, actually, if some of them things are true, fair enough, but you've still got to go and maintain that.
Yeah.
You could say I've only got what I've got in fishing because my dad's helped me. Absolutely, he gave me a great start. But I'm doing my own thing now, and I mean, he says that he's the student. He's not. Like, he will always be the biggest inspiration in my fishing because he used to take me all the time. But if you want something enough, you have to keep relevant, and you have to keep going, and you have to keep doing something. But there's so many people that are just trying to knock you down, and this is the same, and I say it for a lot of the juniors, like back when I was growing up, it's not like I'm old. Back in the day, like a lot of kids were vlogging and this and that was when YouTube was in its like early stages, and Carl and Alex were, like I say, I get starstruck when I see Carl because he's an inspiration to not just me, but to so many people for getting people into fishing. And they went through the whole trolling, pair of brothers, this and that, people knocking them back, and they carried on. And now Cole is, you can't even deny, is the most successful YouTube angler, certainly of our generation in the UK. What he does, and his brother Alex with what he's gone. I know they're not together anymore, but they're still both like influential people. And there's so much negativity. Like, mate, I've had my fair share of negativity, and I would be lying if I said it doesn't get to me, or you don't read it and you think to yourself, bloody hell, like, why would you write that? But there's so many of these youngsters that are coming through that get comments, and instantly they just hide in their shell, because I think certainly when we was growing up, like younger, you didn't have the online stuff. So if you had an issue with someone, you'd just say, mate, I think you're this, this and this, you'd air your problems. Whereas now, so many people can hide behind a keyboard and write what they want to write, but they don't realise the impact that it's actually having on the person that they're writing it to.
100%.
And you don't know what people are going through, obviously back when all that, the hormone tripe went on, and I'd done the other podcast and I spoke about it, and I know everyone says it, I've had hundreds of messages, but I literally had hundreds of messages of people saying, like, I'm in a dark place myself, I've had suicidal thoughts, and I've almost turned into a bit of a counsellor for these people. Not that I'm any trained counsellor, but you don't realise how many people are having a tough time, and a negative comment. Like, one of my biggest things that really me off is that someone could be having a bad time, they could be having comments aimed at them, or people write stuff, they go and commit suicide, and they're just another statistic, and nothing's investigated into that. Now, you can go and stab someone, kill them, and you can get life for murder. But you can make someone kill themselves by words, and there's zero consequence. And after a couple of weeks, that person's been forgotten about, and then instantly it's like, oh well, we'll do it to someone else now. And people write negative comments, and it's like, that's one of the things that I think that I've seen growing up, and that's probably, like I say, my best advice is to go fishing, almost put your blinkers on. You know, I'm not saying go fishing and be rude to everybody. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is go fishing for the reasons that you want to go, not because matey over there's got a bigger PB than you, not because that matey over there gets his free tackle. You know, and that's it again. People are embarrassed to cast out in case they crack off. Who gives a I go fishing, I crack off when I cast out. Like, you know, it's invincible. But people are so image conscious now, and they're so worried about what the next person's thinking that it's not good.
Yeah,
not good at all.
Which leads us on nicely to a few comments that I've been digging around for, which is in your envelope. Now, we're not all negative. We're staying on the motorway.
Next junction down.
I'm not too sure how this sound's going to be on the motorway. I didn't test the motorway, did I?
It'll be all right.
I'm hoping it's all right.
People know we're in a car.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been scanning around online, pulled out a few comments that I found. Not all negative. We'll start with the positives.
Yeah.
My time has come.
That's all. No,
Find me one.
They're in there. So yeah,
I like this
I'm looking at
stuff.
envelope typed out and everything. There, that's it. I've got his name on it. Very professional setup here. Camera's running out of batteries. Shaky
Someone would
cameras.
say this isn't your first rodeo.
It's not my first rodeo, so we're carrying on the motorway, not coming off here.
No, stay on.
Right, so I have left the names of the people in. If you want to read them out, you don't have to. But yeah, they're on different videos. So yeah, go on.
So this is on my Beast of Brasenose video, which was in my Fox days.
Yeah.
Not knocking his ability, we know he hauls on that place, but he is in a hugely privileged position and fishes the place every week. Now, he's not knocking my ability, which I like. I like that.
I think we covered it a bit here, but
yeah.
go on.
Haul on it. I catch out of there regularly, but I wouldn't say haul all the time.
Yeah.
I am in a very privileged position because obviously I'm there a lot. And also I have good contacts with some of the bailiffs up there, and you know, I'm able when we're doing filming to get pegs closed off, etc, etc.
Yeah.
But even when you are getting pegs closed off, you still have to have that knowledge to be able to get the right peg closed off.
Yeah, yeah.
And I fish in the place every week. Now that's obviously a bit of a bizarre one because, again, leading on to what I was saying about people believing certain things on social media, I lead people to believe that I fish a lot of places every week, but I don't. Because I don't like people knowing basically when I'm at the lake and when I'm not at the lake.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't argue with what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, but I always think the person that's written this, is he angry in life? And he probably is.
Yeah, and one thing I think is worth mentioning is the fact that I think, you know, he's there every week. You know, that points at what an angler should be doing for me. If they've, you know, if they're targeting and trying to build up a picture of how to catch them fish and you've got your own target lake, then, you know, you don't want to be fishing here, there and everywhere. You know, you want to be going to the same place every week or every weekend as much as you can to sort of build on it.
Yeah.
There's one with my name in. Have you seen it? Go on, what have we got here now?
Yeah. Tom Maker, the one complex wonder, and let's not even talk about the hormone controversy. Again, people will only see what they want to see, you know.
Yeah.
I can go through my social and know that I can go fishing anywhere, and I have been fishing all over, but people will only see what they want to see. I could probably not go to linear for 5 years, but catch one fish out of B1 and people like there every week.
Yeah.
And then about the hormone controversy is like, again, somebody that's seen on the internet that this was supposed to be going on, he's got absolutely zero proof, no evidence, which nobody ever had because there never was anything going on.
I've got a good story actually to help you out. Not help you out, not that you need helping out. Obviously, I was a part of your life, and I was involved heavily in, you know, chatting to you in the background when all this was going on. And obviously, we know it was the worm. You were keeping it quiet, and rightly so. You know, you find an edge in fishing, blah blah blah. And then obviously, all this came out, and I never forget. I was fishing with the Dan Wild Boar. We were on the social bank of St John's. And I had some guy next to me, and he was a bit of a nightmare, if you like, you know, in the sense of kept cracking off, and he kept casting over people's lines and all that. He wasn't a very capable angler. That's probably a better way of putting it. Which is, you know, everyone's at different levels. 100%. And I actually went down and gave him a little bit of an hand. I was, you know, he asked me for some help, and I went down, did some casting and that, blah blah blah. And then he brought it up later on. He was on about, oh, have you heard about this Tom Maker? He's, you know, using his hormones and that. He said, oh, I was fishing next to him one night and he had like 10 and I had 1, and I knew there was something wrong then. And, you know, I had to stop him in his tracks and sort of say, mate, I'm not being, you know, I do know Tom, he's a good mate of mine, and I've seen the way that he angles, and I've seen the way that you angle, and there's a difference, you know, and that's where I started to think, you know, this is where all these rumours almost got poked in the fire, because people were judging you based on their angling, you know, and almost giving themselves an excuse as to how good you are, you know, and I'm blowing you a trumpet there, but rightly so, I've seen you angle, and you are another level, mate, you know, another level.
It's their own self-delusion that led them to believe something was going on.
So, but that was that. Come on, let's move on to something a bit more negative, a bit more negative, a bit more positive.
Full circle. I imagine some people would compare themselves to Tom. I remember seeing him spomming all day and casting. I'm led without my rods and laying in the sun, thinking, good on the lad. That I can't be asked. But that's probably, you know, and this is something I say to a lot of people, like when I go through the gates of a lake, whether that be Linear, Farlows, wherever I'm going to work, you know, and to maintain this as a job like I do, I've got to maintain that same level. Got to maintain that same level of passion and drive. So I'm going fishing and I'm going to be trying my hardest the whole time I'm there, because I know I could go home and chill. Whereas the people that are around the lake are probably getting there to get away from work. So if they're not going to be putting as much effort in as me, I fully respect that, you know, and I'm not going to go and say to them, you should be doing this, this and this, because they might have a stressful life, they might, you know, they might be on the brink of wanting to kill themselves. You don't know people's situations. You can't, you can't make assumptions on people's situations. And like, when I'm going fishing, I'm going there to work and to try my hardest. And then, you know, but it's nice to get a comment like that, because the thing you find is, so say you do a video, I was like, say it gets 50,000 views. Of those 50,000 views, when you're on the bank, if you speak, I mean, I speak to a lot of people, but say 20 people you speak to, they would have all watched it. Mate, absolutely brilliant video, you're so good at this, this and this, but they won't comment on the video, because it's a lot for somebody to comment positive. Like the guy that's commented this, his name is actually Thomas the Tank Engine, which is quite fitting. Oh, that is quite. That was your own comment. He's commented that himself. But you know what I mean? Like, he's gone out of his way to comment something positive.
Yeah.
You know, whereas people won't. Like, it's only the small minority of people that will put negatives on. So
we've actually changed the way we deal with that now, haven't we? It's worth mentioning this. So all you positive guys and girls, if you've got something positive to say, definitely get it said, regardless of what people are saying, what other people's opinions are, because we've changed. Because the way we used to, it's weird how like Western Supermare. We used to. It's mad, isn't it? When you're reading your comments, if you go through them, that one negative will stand out, wasn't it? Wasn't it? And you almost. We used to give responses, didn't we? It makes you, it pokes you, so you want to respond. But we've now started ignoring the negatives and replying to every positive, haven't we?
Or liking the negatives, and then hiding them because they know you've acknowledged it. There's another one there.
Go on.
So it must be brilliant having swims closed off for days before you go. That's how these anglers get so many bites. Well,
now, let me comment first. Now, I'll put that one in there because I know that isn't the case. Hands down, hand on heart. Now, you've already said that you have had places closed off when you're doing filming projects, but I would say 90% of your fishing, especially these days, is your own head of Supermare,
in the middle lane,
is your own fishing that you film yourself, and you don't phone ahead and lock them off, you know.
But again, people will only see what they want to see, and I do understand what you're saying there. You know, must be having swims closed off days before. What's brilliant is being able to ring up and say, right, I'm coming to film on Brasenose 1 in 2 weeks' time. I'm looking at the long range weather. Is it possible to have peg 7? Yeah, no problem, Tom, you can have peg 7. But from the time I've made that phone call to the time I arrive, there's somebody in that peg. So if there's somebody in that peg, effectively I haven't had the peg closed off for days on end. I've had the swim reserved when I'm turning up, but the peg hasn't been closed. There's always been anglers in there. You know, and I think the best one, and it's not on it, but people say, oh, you're having these swims pre-baited. Like, you know, much like the hormone tribe, no one's ever got a picture of anything because there's nothing if it was ever true.
Yeah.
If a bailiff put a boat out on a linear fisheries venue and pre-baited over the side of it for me, I'm sure someone in this modern day would take a photograph of it. You know. But anyway, enough of them. So
and again, I'm not just. Well, let's put that on, see if we can get it going again. Put the aircon on him. Camera's too hot. It's all right. One sec. So, I've not tried to turn this into like a negative thing. I'm trying to sort of highlight things that people might think and might say, and sort of, you know, give our points of view on it, if you like. But I've ended with a good one because it had my name in it. Although it is a negative again. And yeah, I was going to change the last word, but I thought I'd leave it in. Why not? So what's it say?
You know the vibes this is from. you know if someone's naming themselves on that on YouTube, that they've got zero vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like this person here probably sits in his room, watches videos of people smoking weed, thinking he's top draw, but he's not.
Go on.
Go catch some proper fish from low stock, not from CARP-OOL land. Tom Stokes and Scott Lloyd wipe the floor with this muppet. I mean, I'm not denying that they wouldn't wipe the floor on these low stock venues, but like I said before, going fishing is about what makes you happy, you know. And I always compare it to, say, people that drive cars for a living. Lewis Hamilton wouldn't get in a rally car and do a rally course, and he wouldn't win it, right? And a NASCAR racer wouldn't get in a Formula One car and enjoy it, because people like different disciplines. But that doesn't mean that a NASCAR racer isn't a proper race car driver. It doesn't mean that Lewis Hamilton's not a proper isn't a proper Formula One car driver. Like with fishing, there's so many different disciplines that you can do.
Yeah.
Like the word proper just really grates on me, because you know, people say go and catch a proper carp. Well, what are the ones that I catch? Are they made out of polystyrene? Yeah, go left, yeah. You know, they're made out of polystyrene. Are they fake?
Yeah.
Like what people choose to do with their time and how they choose to get their fix out of fishing is entirely up to them. You know, and I wouldn't comment on anybody else's fishing.
No.
Like, go and enjoy it. Like, yes, I find the keep it real style fishing not cringy, but like I find it very one-dimensional. You're sitting there and you're relying on time more than anything else. You know, because there's not as many fish in the lake. And mate, something that I use quite a lot, an analogy that I use quite a lot, right? And you know, this isn't putting any fish down anywhere. But say that Biggin in Brasenose one, and I refer to it quite a lot because obviously I fish there quite a lot and it's taught me a lot about fishing. So you got that Biggin in Brasenose one, right?
Yep. That's
in a lake of a population of say 1,200 fish, to be conservative. There's probably more, there may be less, but say there's more than 1,200. There's a 50-pound carp in there. I've fished that lake since it very first opened. Would have been like 2000.
Got a bite. Sorry, mate.
2007, something like that, 2006. Of all the years I've fished there and how many times I've fished there, I've only caught that fish once at 51 pounds, right? That fish has been a 50 pounder for 4 years now, and it's probably come out a handful of times. Now, every week around that lake, you've probably got a turnaround of 100 plus anglers, each with 3 rods.
See where this is going.
So you've got, say 300 to 500 rods in that lake per week. That fish comes out once in a lake with 1,200 fish in. On a syndicate with 25 members, the big one comes out 4 times a year. What's the bigger mug?
Very true.
I know there's obviously less fish.
Good analogy.
For that fish to get
put 25 lads on Brasenose and see how many times it comes out, and put 1,000 people on.
And if you put 15, 20 guys on Stoneacres every week, with the level of stock what's in there, the big ones in there maybe come out 2-3 times a year. But if you put the same amount of lads on B1 every day of the week, that big one only comes out once or twice a year. Yeah. So that fish is avoiding being caught a lot more than what a fish is in a lake where people can hand place a rig, hand place their bait. So effectively, what's the harder fish to catch? Definitely. You know, what's the proper fish? And what another thing that really grates on me is if I was to catch the big one out of Brasenose that wasn't in Brasenose, but that same fish was in, I say Stoneacres because it's probably one of it's a really like historical venue. Of course. If that fish come out of Stoneacres, oh my God, it's the big one out of Stoneacres. If you chuck it in B1, oh, it's a shitter, it's come out of B1.
I know what
People are so snobby now about the lakes what fish come from. to the point where I'm seeing people upload photographs from linear, say, an Oxfordshire gravel pit. You know, don't go fishing somewhere if you're embarrassed to say where that fish has come from. You know, go fishing there because you've got pride and you want to fish there. And if you catch a 50 out of linear, fair play. You know, there's not many anglers that have caught a day ticket 50 pounder.
No.
You know, because there isn't as many of them about as what there is in the private syndicates. But yeah, I always say to myself, like, things like that, like carp soup. Yes, the places I fish are carp soup, but at the same time, I like sitting behind my rods and watching them go. Yeah. And that's what I enjoy.
This is the reason I put it in there, because I know that you've done all the types of fishing. Yeah, you've done Wolf, and so you've done this, you've done that, you've gone abroad, you've done it all. So all that's showing is you've been around the mill, you've tested, and you like getting bites. I know that. Yeah. It's not saying you can't do the other elements of fishing. All it is you prefer to do that. You know what I mean? And that's as simple as that. It's the same with your taste buds. It's the same, you know what I mean? If you like Carlin, you like Carlin. I mean, you may as well not, but you know what I mean? It's the same with beer, you know, it's the same with everything. So that's why I put it in there, because I didn't want to go too deep into negativities. It was more trying to spin the positive of it. Now, happy, we are not long off, done. We're going to go and have a mill and carter. Now, I have got one last video to show you, which is another little surprise.
Love the video. Probably tell me it's from Laura or something.
No, you're not allowed to know until you know. Let me just check that I'm connected.
You've got to be back from the school run, bearing in mind.
All right, well, it's only a minute.
That's my dentist tried ringing me, that was.
All right, 1 second.
Not very busy here, is it?
Right, so.
Will they let us in like this, mill and carter, or have we got to be...
You ready?
Go on then.
Hey Danicus, it's me and Laura.
It's my child.
And we just wanted to thank you for, you know, everything you've done from me and Laura and Herbie. Herbie's in the family too.
She should be on the vlog.
But we just wanted to say like a big thank you for everything you've done for us, and we just wanted to say well done for being you.
Oh.
We are super proud of
Never
everything
gives me a
that
compliment.
you've achieved so far, and I know there's so much more to come. All the hard work you put in is amazing, and I know that you people probably think that it just happens, but it doesn't. You do put so much hard work in, and you do that for us, so we really do appreciate it. Also, like to say, I know I talk a lot of wedding stuff, and I know sometimes it gets on your nerves.
That's why she wants me to carry on.
Nerves, doesn't it? But you know what? I can't wait to marry you in October next year. And yeah, absolutely buzzing. But thank you for everything you do for us, and we love you lots.
They get on really well. Which,
It's me.
Which is really good. Yeah, that was one of the biggest things. Like when I never planned on splitting with my ex, but things happened, and that's life.
Yeah,
but like
I nearly cried watching it the first time. I was hoping you were going to start pouring out, but
I got my wedding to be different. I know it will. Like I do, get, like stuff like that is you know, it's nice, and obviously Laura's mega supportive. Yeah, you know,
that's good. That's what you need.
The good thing is I met her when I went with doing what I'm doing now. So like, obviously, when I say to her, I used to say I'm going fishing, but now I say I'm going to work, because if you use the word fishing, it can be very easy to look at what we do and think, flipping, they're having a jolly, which is what most. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. Most of the time, I am having a jolly. You know, you're having a barbecue, you're having some food, you're chilling out. I can sleep when I want. I do.
It's a good point. That sorry, I was just gonna let me jump in, because this might be a good word of advice for people watching. I've had loads of mates over the years. I'm sure you have. What sort of they'll go fishing loads when they're single, and then they get a missus, and they give fishing up quite a lot, and they spend a lot of time with the girl. But which is obviously, you know, that's what you got to do. But at the same time, I always say to him, just keep a little bit of fishing, because what will happen is if you dedicate all your time to them, and then all of a sudden, once you get settled in a little bit, you try and go fishing, like, well, what's this?
They get used to you being at home.
Yeah. And it comes between a lot of, you know, I see a lot of anglers, you know, weddings, marriages go down the pan and everything, don't they? Through fishing.
I've maintained going.
Got to have that balance.
Yeah, you have, yeah. And obviously, I have to try and have a balance of seeing my little one, because I don't see her every day like I would do if I was living with her. Yeah. So I have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. Excuse me, which is probably more than what most people who are working a 5-day-a-week job would see their kid anyway. Yeah. Then going fishing on the weekend. But yeah, mate, like I say,
looking forward to the wedding. Still haven't had my official invite yet.
No, no.
Waiting.
Well, I haven't handed them out yet.
You haven't done the invites.
Yeah, so it's going to be, like getting married. I can't believe it. It's quite bizarre, really.
Yeah. All right. Are you happy to go and get Mill and Carter because you got to pick little one up?
I could, not being funny, I could eat a scabby horse.
All right, let's
1
go.
o'clock.
Last thing to do to that camera, we've got to strike a pose like a gangster.
Well, I'm on the phone, and I.